something different in the air.
Don't tap that glass, baby. Don't tap that glass. There's a monster in it. Don't tap that glass.
Kennard's looking right now.
Don't tap that glass. Don't tap that glass.
LeBron James way downtown.
Don't tap that glass. Don't tap that glass, baby. Don't tap bling, 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 bow. Michael Jordan eyes, neck yellow, look like bing, bow.
James falling away, puts it up, puts it in.
We know the intensity now, so we should be ready again on Tuesday.
So the Lakers, they stole game one, and that's a good sign for any LeBron James team. Danny, you know this. Saturday marked the 32nd time LeBron has taken the first game of a series, and LeBron's teams, they won in 29 of the 31 previous series after taking that 1-0 lead. Shams Charania is back with us, along with our senior writer, Dave McMenamin. So let's start with the biggest question in this series, and that's on the Rockets side of all of this for game two here. Kevin Durant, officially, he is listed as questionable. Shams, I want to start with you, and then Dave, here, you're reporting here. What is the likelihood that he is going to play?
Malika, so the process tonight for the Houston Rockets and Kevin Durant will be, Durant will warm up pregame, and they're going to make a decision. But Rockets sources believe and are hopeful that Kevin Durant will be able to play tonight. They're optimistic. What he's dealing with is a deep bruise in the right patellar tendon. That's called swelling. It's impacted his range of motion. So it's going to be about how fluid does he move pregame, how much fluidity does he have in his steps. The fact that Kevin Durant sat in game one tells everyone everything they need to know about how severe the pain he was feeling. So we'll know pregame tonight whether he's going to be in a position to play or not.
Yeah, Sham, several sources familiar with KD's injury told me over the last 24 hours that had this been another player and had it occurred in the regular season, you're talking about a 2 to 3 week absence. But because it's Kevin Durant, because he has this competitive nature, competitive fire, and it's the playoffs, he's going to make a push to play in game two. But you'd have to figure with that type of timeline, even if he does play, you're not talking about a guy that's 100%.
Right. 2 to 3 weeks for any other player at a different point in the year is something that should be a little bit concerning, and they should proceed cautiously. On the Lakers side of all of this, right, we know that they're going to be without Luka Doncic for game two. We know they're going to be without AR as well. But Luka, we saw video. He was on the floor at yesterday's practice. So, Shams, what more can you tell us about how his recovery is going?
Malika, the sense around the Lakers is that Austin Reeves is actually the one that's further along than Luka Doncic in their respective rehab processes. I am told Austin Reeves has started one-on-one on-court work. The next step for him is to continue to go through the progressions of 3-on-3, 5-on-5. Remember, early April here, he had a 4 to 6 week timetable. So theoretically, that puts him on track late in this series, potentially early in the next series. The Lakers are not expecting Luka Doncic to be back in this series. He is out indefinitely, but Austin Reeves making some progress on the court.
Okay, holding out a little bit of hope that they may get one of those two back then. So, Dave, for now, despite all of the conversation about LeBron needing to take a back seat throughout the season, now look all the way back on his shoulders. How is he handling being thrust back into the leading role here, something he's grown very accustomed to over the years?
Yeah, Malika, I want to take you back to last week of the regular season. The Lakers had lost their first two games after the injuries to Austin and Luka, and they're up in San Francisco for a team meeting. And several team sources told me that LeBron, from that moment on, kind of shifted back into the leader role and the primary role. And basically his tone, his focus, his attention to detail from that point through the end of the regular season, through the week of preparation, during the play-in tournament, and then through game one, was that of follow me, and if you take care of your job, I'm going to take care of my job, and we're going to have a chance to win. Now, it doesn't mean that them winning game one means that they're going to get automatically to the second round, but if they stay in this mode, and LeBron's certainly going to set the example how to stay in this mode, they feel like they have a game plan that can get them further along in the playoffs. And then, as Shams alluded to, maybe you get Austin back late in the first round. Maybe you get Luka back later on in the playoffs.
Look, we have seen LeBron take rosters that have far more flaws than this on deep postseason runs. But at 41 years old, let's see if he can do it again. Dave, Shams, thank you very much for that insight as we bring you back inside our Los Angeles studio here. Before we get to the Lakers side of all of this that Dave just touched on, what we heard on Kevin Durant, how concerning is that to anybody? What are we thinking here?
I would say, number one, talking to teams who've worked with Kevin Durant in the past, they think he's one of the toughest players they've ever seen. So they expect him to play as soon as possible. And the Lakers are going to expect him to play tonight. And secondly, the teams that were potentially facing the Lakers in the first round when they performed their preparations for this, expected that Austin Reeves would be the one who would return first and that he would be able to maybe come back late in the first round.
But isn't it an advantage, Danny, for the Lakers? They know they're going to be without their leading scorers in this game, as opposed to the Rockets are sort of playing on this edge of, are we going to get KD back? Are we not?
I don't know if it's an advantage, but I don't like the Houston. Again, I think KD would have played if he could have. This let me know this was serious than it actually was. But you can't play with the game. I think they thought they could afford to sit KD because they're playing with house money. But now Lakers have confidence. They're in the rhythm. You got guys like Luke Kennard playing very well.
Very well.
DeAndre Ayton, people not getting enough credit. 19-11, he outplayed that Clint Capella or Sengun matchup. So these guys are playing at a high level, and you can't play with the game. This is where you kind of lose yourself.
So as someone who's very, very invested in Houston's future, you can't play with a game, but you also can't play with your future. And hearing that the likelihood, the turnaround would be 2 weeks and he's just tough and he wants to compete, sometimes I'm like, you have to protect the athlete from themselves. And we've already seen what happens when he pushes through. He had suffered an injury.
So would you take the gamble? Would you say, all right, we're going to risk going out there and try to go back 1-1 without
Me
him?
personally, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I would just try to get him back home.
Okay.
Buy him a couple extra days and then see how he feels from there. Maybe the series goes 7, knowing that you have him back and you could really win 2 at home. And so that's me. But again, I'm very cautious about my Houston Rockets for the long term and not just this immediate future.
I agree with Chene. I think if he's 50%, I would probably still sit him. He's going to make the decision on his own, I think. I think you have enough to win tonight.
They should.
Without Kevin Durant.
They should.
Considering where the Lakers are right now, you got to clean up your offense. That's the most important thing. And they've had 72 hours to digest as far as where they were Saturday and where they're going to be tonight.
Right. And for the Rockets here, we've talked about it. It comes down to DeAndre Ayton can't win that matchup against Alperen Şengün, and he was absolutely sensational, really. All the Lakers could have asked from DeAndre in that game 1. We'll see how it's going to shake out tonight. Let's go, though, from LeBron's current team to one that we saw a whole lot of. For the 3rd straight season, the Cavaliers, Brian, they're up 2-0 in their first-round series. So let's head to Cleveland here. Second quarter is where we pick this up. Cavs leading by 4. Harden, this is what he does.
I want to tell you the Raptors had a lot of good defensive possessions in this game, and Harden and Mitchell ended them with dagger baskets.
Like that?
Is that legal? What is going on here?
I don't know. The streets like it, though.
Did you say that's a push-up? Wow. And then the stare down after. Did you see this angle?
Yeah, that looks quite familiar from years past.
And then it bounces 3 times, almost a Kawhi-ness to it.
Shooter's bounce.
Muscle check.
There you go.
Goes on in. And then jumping ahead to the 3rd
Thought he
year.
was like, what?
Mitchell going to work. Little dart to Mobley for the slam. He finished with 25 points, 11 of 13 from the field.
He's been hooping.
Cavaliers closing it out here. Mitchell,
You know what's coming.
he's got that range. Pulls up for 3, knocks it down. He finished with 30 points on the night. The Cavaliers go on to win, and now they're up 2-0 in the series. And they had 3 25-point scorers in a playoff game for just the 4th time ever. Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, this is what we've been waiting for. They also became the first playoff trio with 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 55% shooting since 1991. That's when David Robinson, Rod Strickland, and Willie Anderson did it for the San Antonio Spurs.